All right, let's delve into materials. As we look at this in this viewport shader, you got this. I hit the 5 key to go into the perspective view. You probably know that. I don't know. I don't know what you know. Let me see all this, which is fine. This is using a HDRI map to do this. Do we want the scene world? I don't know. Okay, it's using the scene world. Let's take that off. It's combining them. No, we don't want to look at that. That's going to confuse you. So you rotate this, you can see light is falling a little bit different on your world. You also have your sun on. We can take that off so that, oops, let's go back. So you can see effects of the, so it's taking light information from this image and applying it to the world. And we can bring that world into, it's going to be blurred. If we unblurred it, then we can see the world in the background. It's not going to move or change. It's going to stay the same scale. And all of that. And this will add your lights to it, I do believe. So we really don't want to do that. Or we can, but showing you what that panel does. Let's see how we can set that back to 0. And of course it has strength. See, now it's just using your lamp. I call it, yeah, your sun lamp. Is there another lamp? Oh, there's a lamp here. Did I put the sun lamp in there? I don't know. I'm confused now. Probably not. Well, that looks kind of cool. Okay. So we'll do that, and we'll turn this off, and we won't need to blur. And of course, that's the render. And we're looking at the materials that you created. What I like to do is do all that stuff in the layout tab, and then turn this off so that I don't see any lines that I've selected anything. I like to keep these on. I can turn that off and all this stuff goes away, but I'm more interested in being able to look at the rendered object without seeing all the lines, all the bullshit that comes with it. You hit the 0 key on the 0 key on the number pad, and that gives you your view, the camera outline. If you select your camera, it's going to be yellow. You can do anything there, but let's go back and select this object. You can also select the base there. And what I'm going to do is the N key to bring in this stuff and go to view and set my cursor to camera to view. You can pull this out and see this what that's set to. And this means that once we're clicked on that as this orange, if we start to move around, we are essentially moving the camera around. We come back out of that and we look at our camera. Where is our camera? We can't see our camera. It's right there. What is going on with your camera? It's 1 meter. How big is this thing? Interesting. Oh, because I had that turned off, dumbass. See, it moved your camera around. So, oh, I'm in the camera mode. Click back on this. I can rotate around it, or I can click on the background and rotate. I can even click on the light and rotate around that. So it's moving around based on whatever object you're clicked to. Let's do that and go back and bring it in. Zoom it up. Size of the camera is, of course, determined through these. And we have all sorts of things doing here. You can also create your own sizes and then add a preset and name it, and you can always go back to it. I also like to do that because when I render it, I'm only rendering what is actually in the camera window. And you can tell that because it's outlined in orange. When you're working in Eevee, so it really doesn't see much of a difference on the outside, but if we go back to, we go to cycles, which is what I prefer, and I'm going to be computing off my graphics card because I have a fairly nice NVIDIA setup that came with a computer, so nothing fancy. And I render that. Well, I can pull in my window. Well, we'll do it this way. Keep doing it this way. Now when I render, you see I'm not seeing anything on the outside. And Cycles has gotten considerably better at oh, I don't want to do that. I'll do that on. Why is it not moving the way I want it to move? I should be able to zoom in. Oh. What is happening? It's not letting me move. Anyway, I can bring that in and do that. And I can change this to 35. And you can see it a little bit more. I guess that's the same as hitting. It's going back to user perspective. Oh, I'm on. Why is it? What are you doing? I want to zoom in on you. What did I do? What did I do? Weird. What the hell happened here? Why is it not zooming? This is weird. I don't remember hitting any buttons to disable stuff, so this doesn't make any sense. It's working in here. What am I clicked into this? Oh, now it's going to zoom? Only so much. And also play with these figures and make it do things. I usually like to lock this at 0 since I'm not doing any spending in time way. Is it working now? Seems to be working now. I don't know what it was freezing up on. Yeah, I can zoom in now. I don't know. I'm at a loss of words. Okay. So we have rendered mode. We went with Eevee cycles. We get this. And I don't know if your laptop can accommodate cycles. We'll play around with Eevee anyway. Go back to Eevee because that's what you're using. It's not doing that. Ambient occlusion. That looks good. Turn that on. Bloom is for lights. So let's see if we can look at a light. Is it going to be... Well, you can kind of see it on the object. Now I might have some problems with this because the computer is trying to run both the capture software and this modeling software. So surface scattering. You can see what that does. Let's put a little bit of a reflection in your... All right. And we can control the contrast if you want to. But let's go play with... This also, if you're using this, it's going to... Your shadows are going to be kind of that tone. As you can see, it's going to... And if I go totally red, you see the shadows are kind of red. It's like an ambient light. Usually 0 is pretty good for that, or lower. And this has different stuff in it than I'm used to because I don't really see... But anyway, let's not use nodes. And we'll leave it at that. And we'll go to our material. And this is also use nodes. Makes everything white. We want to do that. Oh, it does that. Your base color is this nice baby shit green. I don't know why you chose this color. You have your metallic on, that's good. Things are either metallic or dielectric, but they're never in between in real world. But if you're going to be sci-fi, you can probably put something in the middle, doesn't matter. When metallic set, this doesn't have any effect on it. You have your roughness to 100, which means you have no reflections whatsoever on the model, and it doesn't look very realistic at all. Plus, what is a green metal? I don't know. So let's not make it a metal. We can make it a paint, right? If it's a paint, then this specular, we'll put it like that. Then the specular, the lower it is, the more sharper the it should be. Let's give us a preview. As you can see there, let's move this up so we can get all this in the screen. That's my reflection. This is how big the reflection is. So it can be almost non-existent to very wide. And if we set our roughness higher, it diffuses a little bit more across the whole object. And this roughness can go higher. We can even set to 5. Or maybe even higher, but there's no real need to. Usually things are pretty good. You can see how your sun is reflecting off of that roughness. Let's drop that specular and we can give it a nice look to it. That's fine. But we can go here and we had that same color. We can make this white. Or not full white because nothing's full anything. Just a little bit. We'll make it around there. Okay, let's undo that because this is using the same material. So let's change that material to a new material, and we do that with this. So it changed it to 1 because you had it something else. We'll go back to here, we're at material 2, and we can call this something that's either going to be the color or what the color is going to be about. Like if you have a spaceship, I usually, if I'm going to have the whole a color, I'll just name that color whole. That way I can change the color to anything else. Like if I make the whole white, I may look at it and go, nah, I'm going to add a little bit more blue to it or a little bit of brown to it or some other color, and I don't have to go back and change the name of the material to what the color actually is. I'm like, I'm having this color assigned to the whole, so that's whatever color I decide it's going to be. Everything that's assigned or has the color whole assigned to it will be that color. If that makes some sense. This, we don't have a lot of things going on with this, so we can call it, well, we'll just call it turn, because we can change this color and not worry about it. And this one, we have this new material. We can call it middle. And now we can go here, we can change this color. We don't want it to be yellow, do we? Get that down to 0. Bring that up a little bit. Which is the same as this slider. Okay, and we're going to have that metallic, and it starts to look like a metal. We can make it shinier. We can give it a mirror finish, and we can make it a little bit rougher. But I think it always should have a little bit of shininess to it, even if you don't want much. That looks pretty decent. I don't know. Why you want it green? Why do you want it green? We'll give it maybe a little bit lighter color. But now we can also do this. We can take that color, we can control copy it, we can come down here to, well, maybe we can't, viewport displays, pop that open and change that color to that, and it's going to do that. Do the same with this. So it's already kind of white, we can add a metallic to it, and that can be fine. Or you can change the whatever. So that's another way of you can change, of just doing your color, what am I trying to say, your shading for your viewport, where you can go into Madcap and just choose. All right, what's it doing? Oh, okay, there we go. Studio, you can go single color, random color, object color, attribute, texture, whatever, material, or you can go back to single. Even in Madcap, so that kind of works that way. That's where that's at. So we just render it some more. Okay. Let's say you don't want a whole uniform color. Let's stop rendering it for a moment. Maybe go to the object view so it's a little bit easier to see what we're doing. I'm going to hit the backslash to go to local view, and that takes out everything that we don't want to see. And I'm just going to select all these faces. I didn't mean to do that. Well, actually, we can probably just, yeah, that'd be fine. And we want a different color than that. So let's add another material, a new one. I don't know what to name it yet. We can bring that down. And we have to go here into assign it. So go back into that. And then we have this different color. And we can probably select all those and assign. And now we have a band that goes all the way across. That's a different color. And we do the same thing down here, just to play around. I'm going to select the material first and then assign it. Now let's say we wanted to add the same material that to that. We would go plus, then click this box to find the metal, bring that in there, and we can control select that loop and then assign that to the metal. And we've done that. Plus on here, we can select these. And bring in that green material and assign it that way. And we have something pretty much like that. Or you can do this. There's another thing you can do. You can select that face, the control plus, and it will start to select nearby faces. So we can do that and then assign. So I'm hitting the wrong thing. I want to hit tab, not the other one. And maybe we don't like being able to see down our barrel because we don't have a color for it. Unselect those, select that face down there, plus to get all of that. We can add another material, new. We can make it dark and assign. Now our barrel looks dark. All right. And if we go back into material, well, we see that it's only going to show the color that we've already set. So I haven't gone and done all that. So green. Call that black. Or and it changes those colors. It automatically changes. So that material saved. I'm going to go into the Cycles engine. And this is probably going to interrupt my filming. I just think Cycles just looks a little bit better. But it's a preference. Yep. When Cycles, this is probably the render denoise. I don't really need to do the viewport denoise. So render denoise. What else is important in here to look at is light paths. This is normally what it is. You can also set this to like, I think that's default. This is the way it works is the camera is actually the thing that's shooting out the light rays, not the lamps in the scene. It's the camera. So this is probably how many samples of light rays it's sending out for the diffuse, which is just the basic color, the glossy, which is the speculation on it, transmission through transparent materials, and volume through like a fog or something like that. And then how many samples through transparent, and That's another one that's less, and it can depend on how much samples you want, can determine how better it will look. So that's fast global. Full global is they moved this down to 32. It looks like. Full global used to be 128 samples for everything. Now they brought it down to 32. I don't believe I did that. I think they did that. I don't know what this is. Ambient. So many different stuff is in here now that I'm not aware of. But usually default kinda works for most things. I think when you start dealing with glass and light and you want caustics and better reflections, if you're trying to get reflections on glass and through glass, I mean, you probably need more samples to handle that. But I think for this, it's going to work. Usually direct light and clamping, I've never fooled with these. Always keep those about the same. I'm not sure what this is supposed to be doing. It doesn't seem to make much of a difference. We're not using any volumes. This tells you how it's going to render, whether in little sections at a time or the whole thing. I kind of like the whole thing. Yeah. Looks like they've moved some stuff. And this is the things you can play with to see if it renders faster or slower with your computer, with your thing, if you use cycles. It's really a personal preference. So as I back out, I got, because this is a nice reflective thing you've made. And we can make it that. And turn it into a mirror. And some funny thing about this is it's going to show you where your light source is, but you're never going to see the light source in the actual render. And that's kind of cool looking. All right. I think that'll be that for now, and I'll do because this video can get long, I'll do a separate one on the lighting setup. And I can do it now, but a different video. Okay. And I guess you played with the sun because you have a sun and you know how to roll the sun around. It doesn't matter where the placement of the sun is. Sometimes I like to keep the sun high so that I can see a little better. And you grab the little ball and you can move it around and it will change stuff. I think that's all I can think of for the materials.